Welcome back to the Morgan Streetman Show. We're going to get into what we learned from the Democratic debates. And just kind of a big picture, I was having this conversation about who is going to be the candidate for the Democrats. Man. Talking about this last night. And it's so interesting. I know you're going to answer some of these questions, but when you have the Democrats, their sort of battle cry is multi-gendered, multi-geographic, multi, and yet two of the three top contenders are your older white guy. Right. So it's just kind of interesting. I thought that I made that observation that there's an anomaly there.
Biden and Sanders.
Or contradiction, I should say. Yes.
It was fascinating to watch the debates on CNN because this is right after some of that Project Veritas stuff came out, where they went and they actually captured the morning CNN phone calls that they have among all the newsrooms, where Jeff Zucker, the owner of CNN, sets the agenda for CNN. And according to these phone calls, he wants it to be impeachment all the time. And even to the point where the liberal CNN staff is getting sick of talking about impeachment and President Trump. And then you go and you watch the Dem debates, which are run by CNN and Anderson Cooper. And the first question out of the gate, which goes down the road, all of them, is what do you think about impeachment? And to me, I just thought that was hilarious, that right after it comes out that that's all they want to push is impeachment. That's the first question in the debates. But then Anderson Cooper gets to Joe Biden on a question, and we're going to skip the question part of it, although I had it clipped for you, but I've skipped it because we just don't have the time to do all of this justice. But, he goes through and talks about how, these are unfounded allegations against Hunter Biden, et cetera, and then asks Joe Biden the question about what does he think about it. So let's pick up with Joe Biden's answer.
Look, my son did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I carried out the policy of the United States government in rooting out corruption in Ukraine. And that's what we should be focusing on. And what I wanted to make a point about, and my son's statement speaks for itself. He spoke about it today.
Oh, yeah, it does.
My son's statement speaks for itself. What I think is important is we focus on why it's so important to remove this man from office. On the 17th, look, the fact that George Washington worried on the first time he spoke after being elected president that what we had to worry about is foreign interference in our elections. It was the greatest threat to America. This president on three occasions, has invited foreign governments and heads of government to get engaged in trying to alter our elections. The fact is that it is outrageous. Rudy Giuliani, the president, and his thugs have already proven that they, in fact, are flat lying. What we have to do now is focus on Donald Trump. He doesn't want me to be the candidate. He's going after me because he knows if I get the nomination, I will beat him like a drum.
Mr. Hold on, sorry.
I mean, there we go again with Biden with this kind of like 1950s high school football threats. I will beat you like a drum. Do you know that?
Wow.
I will. Look, listen here. I will beat you like a drum, son. And it went on more like that because, of course, he doesn't want to admit that there could be any problem with what his son did with respect to that Ukrainian gas company for which he had no experience and got paid $3 million. Boy, wouldn't you like to get paid $3 million to sit on a board where you have no experience in the industry and you're not actually asked to do anything? I know I would. And you don't think there's a little bit of corruption there? Don't forget what he said about his name being Biden. Mm-hmm. He doesn't think he would have gotten that board spot if his name wasn't Biden. Now, of course, as he said, he doesn't think he would have gotten a lot of things in his life if his name wasn't Biden. You remember a couple...
He's honest.
Yeah, well, at least he's honest sometimes, right? Sometimes when you listen to the full answer, you'll hear the honesty in the answer. It'll be surrounded by some dishonesty. But if you listen hard, you'll hear the honesty coming out, just like when he said he has regrets and he has made mistakes, maybe. So you remember a couple of weeks ago when Elizabeth Warren was on the Colbert show, what's the show, the Tonight, anyway, whatever it is, the late night show with Colbert.
Stephen Colbert.
Yeah. And, he kind of confronted her on this repeated failure to be honest about whether or not she's going to raise taxes on the middle class. Well, she kept the con going at the debate. I mean, she really kept it going. So she dodges the question multiple times. And I want you to hear this from her.
But you have not specified how you're going to pay for the most expensive plan, Medicare for All. Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it, yes or no?
So I have made clear what my principles are here, and that is costs will go up for the wealthy and for big corporations, and for hardworking middle-class families, costs will go down.
Now, this was a yes or no question that she directly dodges, so they even follow up on it.
Mm-hmm. I was just going to say, aren't we up against another vote that we have to have because the government's going to shut down because there's no money left? Isn't that coming in the next couple of weeks or so?
Probably.
So we don't even have to ask her that question.
That's right.
In order to pay for that program, yes, we have to have increase in tax. You have to.
I mean, that's expected. I mean, that's everybody who's looked at this knows there's a huge deficit between what she says she wants to do and what we can afford to do. But let's listen to the follow-up.
Senator Warren, to be clear, Senator Sanders acknowledges he's going to raise taxes on the middle class to pay for Medicare for All. You've endorsed his plan. Should you acknowledge it too?
So the way I see this, it is about what kinds of costs middle-class families are going to face. So let me be clear on this. Costs will go up for the wealthy. They will go up for big corporations. And for middle-class families, they will go down. I will not sign a bill into law that does not lower costs for middle-class families.
So let me be clear as I dodge the question.
You know what I hear in there? I'm picturing punctuation. Costs will go up for corporations and for middle-class families. Do you put the period at the end of corporations or do you put it after?
That's right. That's right. Costs aren't going down for anybody, folks.
No.
Anytime you get the government involved in something, you get a lot of inefficiency and waste. Now, Mayor Pete, zeroes right in on this because he wants to know how the hole that she's describing, and she is describing a hole in her deficit, how is that supposed to get filled? Let's listen here.
Mayor Buttigieg, you say Senator Warren has been, quote, evasive about how she's going to pay for Medicare for All. What's your response?
Well, we heard it tonight, a yes or no question that didn't get a yes or no answer. Look, this is why people here in the Midwest are so frustrated with Washington in general and Capitol Hill in particular. Your signature, Senator, is to have a plan for everything, except this. No plan has been laid out to explain how a multi-trillion-dollar hole in this Medicare for All plan that Senator Warren is putting forward is supposed to get filled in.
Exactly. No plan has been put forward to say how she's going to pay for this, how she's going to pay for it. Now, just as have a little bit of fun with this, I had to go through on Elizabeth Warren and pull out all the times she began her answers with the word so, because, that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. Well,
so
it just, if you listen to the debate, I mean, it was like every single answer. So let's run that clip.
Senator Warren, respond, please.
So
Senator Warren, your response.
So I think this is about, understand. So you started this question with how you got something done.
You know what? You could put a lot of so's together for me because I say so a lot. But at least I'm asking the questions. I'm not giving answers.
Well, there you go.
If you're asking a question, you're saying so. Da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you're answering a question, you don't need a so.
And if you're a public speaker and you find yourself saying the same words over and over again, you need to make a conscious effort to try to vary that up a little bit. But, one of the most interesting answers that I heard from Elizabeth Warren all night is the following. And I hope we've got time to get to it before the break. I don't know exactly how much. We've got about 2 minutes, so we do have time. We're going to jump into it. But I want you to listen carefully, particularly toward the latter half of this answer, because this is revolutionary, what she's talking about doing to the boards of directors of businesses. She wants to put non-shareholders and give them a significant amount of control over the board. Listen here.
So the data show that we've had a lot of problems with losing jobs, but the principal reason has been bad trade policy. The principal reason has been a bunch of corporations, giant multinational corporations, who've been calling the shots on trade, giant multinational corporations that have no loyalty to America. They have no loyalty to American workers. They have no loyalty to American consumers. They have no loyalty to American communities. They are loyal only to their own bottom line. I have a plan to fix that. And it's accountable capitalism. It says you want to have one of the giant corporations in America, then by golly, 40% of your board of directors should be elected by your employees.
Listen to that.
That'll make a difference when a corporation decides, gee, we could save a nickel by moving a job to Mexico, when there are people on the board in the boardroom saying, no. Do you know what that does to our company? Do you know what that does to our community, to what it does to our workers? We also need to make it easier to join a union and give unions more power when they negotiate.
So she wants to force 40% of the board of directors to be controlled by the employees. That is a huge change in corporate law. It's a huge change in property rights. It's absolutely revolutionary and would really harm business. We'll be right back on The Morgan Streetman Show. Thank you for listening to The Morgan Streetman Show. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and if you did, please click like and subscribe to help us out. And remember that we recommend that you exercise your brain at least once a week.